how technology is shaping our world, translating complex innovation into practical knowledge you can use with confidence. I like that. With
Mm,
confidence. What do you think,
yes.
Miss Jackie?
Yes.
This is our second episode. And thank God we're doing Tech 101, people. Tech 101. Soon
Yes.
to be published.
Right. Yes.
So, Miss Jackie, what will be our topic for today?
So today's topic I selected is the tech that changed everything. So here's like an opening. If you could erase one invention from history, what would cause the biggest chaos? Ooh,
Oh my
interesting.
goodness. Let's think. Let's do the 10. 10. Let's do the list now.
Right. Exactly.
First thing it will pop up into my mind is, of course, right now, internet. Shit. No, sorry.
Yes. The internet. Yeah, I would say so. Because we need it to work. We need it to, for entertainment.
Socialize. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
to socialize. Yeah, it feels like we would be disconnected just in so many ways. Yeah, for sure.
For sure, people will be in a chaotic mode. Where is the internet? What's happening? It's like a
Yes.
vital, like a water.
Hmm.
Even the cell phone, right? Technology. If the cell phone is where is the cell phone? In just like 5 minutes, you cannot see your cell phone. Where's my cell phone? Where's my cell phone?
People start panicking. All right, what's happening? Yeah. Well, I know because when my internet, like when the modem has gone out, and then all of a sudden
Modem.
everything, I can't do anything. I can't be in meetings, and I'm like
Mm,
panicking, going, what's happening? So it stresses you out. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Comparing the Wi-Fi like 80s, 90s. Yeah, you
Mm.
need to what? You need to dial. What's the sound again?
Yeah, exactly.
Like that. Now, instant. You don't need to dial. You don't need a telephone line. It's Wi-Fi.
Right. Exactly.
Wi-Fi. Comparing before is like so inconvenience, right? So
Right.
people love convenience. If you take out from them, they big chaos.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely. So my first question, Miss Jackie, is when we say technology changed everything, we're speaking about fundamental shift in human behavior, organization, and capability. What's the framework for identifying which technologies truly meet the world altering threshold versus those that just significant improvements?
Right. So, yeah, I mean, we were talking a little bit earlier about communication, how that's changed, right? So, you would look at even like back 100 years ago, it took a while for you to be able to send communication to people. You had to use a telegram, and that could take days to get to somebody. Now, it's instant, right? So, communication was always there, right? But it was just how it has changed and how technology kept improving and evolving to be able to speed that up. So it's very interesting. Even like cars, for example, I know because my grandfather had antique cars, and so what happened before the car? They had horse-drawn carriages, right? And then they started having the steam engine. And my grandfather had a 1910 Stanley steamer, so I know how it works. And there's some around still today, but they didn't just use gas, they used steam. It was powered by
Yes.
steam. Yeah, so very interesting. And he actually rebuilt the boiler, and it was over 100 holes that he had to drill. So it was tedious. And and also too, he broke his arm one time when he was cranking the one of the cars to be able to start it, because it wasn't just putting your, well, now they don't even have keys, right? They have a button you push, right, and it turns on the car. But back then you had to actually crank the you had to crank it like a handle, and then that started the car. But it always didn't work very well. So he was doing that, and his arm slipped, and he broke his arm. So can you imagine that happening, trying to start your car? But it did. Yeah, he came home in a cast, and I was like, wow. So you think about like how that's changed. I mean, even when it went from, because he actually had a 1898 horseless carriage, but it was a horse-drawn carriage, and they converted it to a horseless carriage. So instead of having a wheel, they had a stick, and they had to. It was the opposite. So you would, left would take you right, right would take you left. So you had to actually turn it to actually, yeah, maneuver it. So very interesting how the car has even changed so much. So yeah, very
So
interesting.
looking back, the pre-digital technology, uh, what is mostly closely mirrored the disruptive one or change everything pattern we see with the modern digital tech, and what parallels can we draw?
That's
Just like
interesting.
the printing press, the telegraph, the
Yeah,
contraceptive pill. Right, the
right,
contraceptive pill. The printing press before, like newspaper is like everywhere. Now
right.
they're getting disappeared.
Exactly. Yeah, people want to look at it online now, and they just have, they have the news apps, right? That
Mm,
you can just pull it up automatically. So a lot of people aren't subscribing to newspapers or magazines much anymore. And
yes,
so those companies had to adapt, and they had to go, okay, wow, so
online.
people are going digital now, right? So they had to offer it online. Now there's some people, that are older that don't really like the digital stuff. My grandfather was like that. He was like, I'm not touching a computer ever. And I'm like, well, grandpa, your car has a computer in it. So even though you don't want to touch a computer, you don't have a choice really. But yeah, I mean, he actually, my grandmother was the same way. She liked to actually have a physical newspaper. And even when they were going digital, she's like, nope, I still want my paper delivered every week. And yeah, so, and she even had like, there was like a gray stain on the table because she would, that's because the paper would be read there. But yeah, I mean, we have to know that not everybody is going to embrace that technology. So I think companies still need to offer those traditional methods for people, because not everybody's going to embrace it or want it. So
Mm,
I think that's important too.
yes,
Yeah.
people don't like change, so
Right.
I'm especially for
Exactly.
the, for sure for the Gen Z or what the new generations, they like change. But for boomerang,
That
the
boomerang. Yeah, exactly.
boomerang or the old people right now, they don't like change. They want the old ways.
Right. Exactly. They're like the good old days, right? You hear them say that a lot. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Yep.
Yes. Oh, especially the telegraph. No more telegraph today, right? No more
No.
existing.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm. When internet came, wow, it's so fast. Communication is so fast, right? Facebook, Instagram, what else? Before Facebook, there is another one. What's
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
yes.
Yes, it was
Before
really
Facebook.
popular before Facebook. Yeah,
Yes. And then when Facebook come, now it's closed.
I'm gonna look it up now because I can't remember.
Me too. It's everybody like it. I think 80s or 90s, right?
MySpace.
MySpace.
MySpace
Yeah.
came before Facebook, and I remember you could only have so many people that were at the top of your list, and so like if you had a significant other, like a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you'd be like, and then all of a sudden someone else went to the top of your list, or you had a best friend, and then they got knocked down, and they'd be contacting you like, why am I not on the top of your list anymore? What happened? And you're like, I didn't do that, and
They're
all this
fighting
stuff.
each other.
Yeah, exactly. And I even Friendster was around then.
Oh,
That was,
Friendster,
you remember
yes. Right?
Friendster? But
Yes.
yeah, I didn't really use it much. I used MySpace more so, but then, Facebook, yeah, kind of took over with that
Hmm.
afterwards. Yep. But yeah, it's kind of funny how MySpace, and yeah, I remember those days of MySpace. Yep.
Those were the days, my friend. So let's talk about the adaptation versus invention, Miss Jackie. Is it true that change everything moment, the invention of a technology, or the moment it achieved this cheap and simple adaptation? Is it the story
Mm.
more about genius in a lab or infrastructure and accessibility?
Ooh, I think it's a mixture of both, because you think about like the telephone, right? And who
Mm,
invented the telephone, and you know Alexander Bell had a lot of failures before he had success
Yes,
with it.
definitely yes.
Yeah, so I think, and then it's adapted and become more accessible to more people. So when we think about the early technology, right, like the telephone, only people that were wealthy could have a telephone in their house
That
or
time,
at
yeah.
or at their place of business, right? So it was expensive to do that, and they didn't really have, and then of course you had the operator, you had a physical person, right?
Operator,
An
yes.
operator, yeah. And sometimes they would have party lines and people could listen in on each other. So you didn't have the privacy aspect either as well. But now we do. Now we have the privacy. But it's very interesting how as as the technology got better, it adapted and it improved and all of that. So but then we don't need live operators anymore, so it put those people out of a job. So that's the tricky part. When you have technology that improves and gets better, it it's bound, some people are just bound to lose their jobs because they don't need those type of people anymore. So it's kind of yeah, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, yes, it's improving people's lives and more people have access to it, but at what cost does that come, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
People, technology make us life easier,
Hmm.
don't you think?
Yeah.
Miss Jackie telling us about the telephone before. Even the cell phone, when the first time arrived in our hand, it's like expensive. It's so humongous. Remember the Motorola? It just you will open like this, and
Yes. And I
it's like
remember
a
the car phone. I remember the
car
car
phone.
phone.
It's
Yeah.
so huge.
So
No.
huge. Oh, and then you also, when they had remember when they started with cordless phones and you
Mm-hmm.
had to, the antenna, you had to actually pull it
Open
up.
the internet.
You had to pull it up. And I remember
Motorola.
yeah, exactly. And I remember ours broke. It was funny. Our antenna broke because I had a friend over one time, and my friend like body slammed me one time. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And I had the phone in my hand, and all of a sudden the antenna broke because it was so thin. And I'm like, "You broke my phone. What are you doing?" Yeah. So, but yeah, you had to like pull it out to talk on it because otherwise you couldn't get good reception, and then you had to remember to push it down and collapse it afterwards. I remember that. Yeah.
So technologies can have unintended second and third order effects far beyond their initial purpose. Can you give an example of core technology who most profound societal impact is completely unexpected by the creators?
Mm.
What?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yes.
I think internet probably
Mm,
is one of the
yes.
biggest ones. Yeah, because I don't and I would say even a close second would be social media because we were talking about Facebook, right? And all those other things. It was just meant for people to stay in touch with each other, and then it
Mm-hmm.
just became this whole entire
Phenomenal. Yeah.
enterprise, right? Where people are starting to make money and become influencers, right? Like you have people on TikTok and Instagram that are quote unquote influencers and they're making millions of dollars. I don't think that's what the founders were anticipating or expecting, but that's the thing with new technology. You have to be ready for the good and you have to also be ready for the things that you don't expect that aren't so good. So yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I would say internet and social media are like, yeah, right up there for me.
Definitely. People, internet was discovered by, I think, in the US using by the Army or US
Mm,
Marine. They use for
yes,
communication.
they did.
And yes, and at that point, they want to use in a broader part or in a broader way. So they introduced to the world. Now
Right.
it's a massive, right? It's a massive experiment. It's a massive $1 billion company, which
Mhm.
is everyone benefiting. What? Communication, number one. What happened in Europe in seconds we know here in northern Canada or northern America, North
Right.
America. It's so fast. And technology, as I said, make our lives easier, but there's our cons too, right? There's a
Right.
not always pros, but there's cons, which is
Absolutely. Yeah.
and
Yeah. I was just thinking of that too. Like like information can come out fast, but is it accurate, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. And then does the media need to actually later on do a retraction because it was incorrect and they didn't have accurate information, right? That they're reporting.
Hmm.
So that's the danger of 24-hour news. That's why I try not to watch news 24 hours. But yeah, that's the danger of that too. Yeah.
So fast, rapid. And do you think sooner or later television will be obsolete too?
It may be. I
Hmm.
think it might be because people want experiences now. They don't want to just watch. They want all their senses to be engaged,
Yes,
right? And
true.
TV is only two-dimensional. You can only hear it and see it. But
Hmm.
with things like VR, AR, MR, you can actually do more with that, and you can actually immerse yourself in the world. And so that yeah, I did an episode on my podcast about that and
Hmm.
how it's changing the workplace, how it's changing training and things like that, and how you can actually, and even education, because you can do all these different things. So yeah, who knows? I mean, it's funny too because when radio was around, and then before television came out, and it was starting to television was coming out, was becoming more widespread. I remember I learned about this in history. There was I don't remember if he was a politician or who he was, but he said, "Oh, TV's not going to go anywhere. No, it's just going to fizzle out." And it's like, no, I don't. It didn't fizzle out, but you're right. I think it. Who knows? I think other things may come about that may replace it, or it may become obsolete. Well, yeah,
Obsolete, yeah.
we'll have to see. Yeah,
Sooner or later, television will be obsolete because
right,
for sure, people want that immerse their old feelings. What they see is just like you are in there,
right,
happening to you right now.
exactly.
So, Miss Jackie, in the past, change everything tech often democratize access to well communication, information to markets. Do you see current frontier technologies like AI, genetic engineering, and quantum computing continuing the trend and a creating new, deeper form of inequality?
Yes, I think that can happen. I think I could, we see it happening right now because I have teachers that are in my classes that are in K through 12 education, and they educate students that are in different socioeconomic statuses, right? So some of them don't have access or good access to internet at home. And so they have to do a lot of their homework at the school because they have to make sure, or at least make sure they have a paper copy of the homework so they can do it at home because they may not have a computer or good internet access. So yeah, I think we're gonna continue to see that because like we were talking about with the AR and the VR and all of that, it's expensive, and so not everybody can afford that price point and at the very beginning, and it takes a while. We've seen that it takes a while for things to come down in price, like cell phones, right? We were talking about that earlier. Cell phones were so expensive that
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of people could afford it, and all they could have was a home phone
Yes.
with an answering machine, and we don't need answering machines really anymore.
No, no more.
No, right. But it's very interesting how people moved away from that, right? So they kept their home phone because they weren't sure about, at least for me, I wasn't sure about the cell phones for a while. Is it reliable? Can I, you couldn't even call 911, I don't think, for a while there with cell
Mm-hmm.
phones because they couldn't track where you were. Now it's gotten better, but they would tell people, keep your home phone. But then now people have moved away from that. And now I actually see a trend where people are moving away from traditional carrier cell phones and they're going to the voice internet cell phones now and moving towards that, the VoIP ones. So that's very interesting too. So companies actually need to be able to shift and move towards that. That's becoming more popular. So yeah, but not, there's some that are affordable, like Zoom has one and that's pretty affordable. I have the Zoom VoIP and it's really nice. Yeah, so it works really well, but you have to be aware of the limitations too that it has.
Definitely
Yeah.
limitation.
Yeah.
We need to know our limit, people.
Right.
So, Miss Jackie, before we wrap up our discussion for today, not before, but I think this is will be the last question for
Yes.
this episode. Reflecting on our own life and work, what is the single piece of technology that has most profoundly shaped your trajectory, worldview, or a daily reality? And did you consciously choose that influence?
Mm, that's good. Well, I'm thinking probably AI technology most recently has had
Mm-hmm.
the biggest influence because I'm using it at work. I'm using it with teaching. I'm now using it with my podcast. I used it to help me edit my book that's coming out hopefully this summer. So now it didn't replace what I did, but it's actually helped me to speed up some of the things that would have taken longer. So, yeah, so I think that's really changed my trajectory and just how I go about doing the daily things now. So yeah, it's very interesting with me.
Yes, definitely interesting, people. Technology is everywhere among us. So, from my perspective, the single piece of technology that most profoundly defines my trajectory and a daily life is the large scale of transform based language model itself. The architecture that allows pattern in language to be learned from vast amounts of data and generalized to new contexts. It shapes how reason, how I respond, and what can I do or what can do, and even how the ideas are framed, because everything I produce is mediated through statistical relationship learned during the training, which is artificial intelligence. Mm.
Yes.
Definitely artificial intelligence, people. And please do listen to our podcast with Miss Jackie AI 101. And of course, Tech 101 and Bible Verses 101, Coaching 101. And I think Miss Jackie is adding love letters.
Sure.
Love
We can
letters.
do it. Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah, we can do it. We can do it. So, Miss Jackie, would you like to plug in something?
Sure. I have my own podcast that I do as well, which is called Designing with Love. So if you want to learn more about instructional design, which has a lot of technology in it, and a little bit about education and stuff like that, check it out. It's available on all podcast platforms.
Yes, check it out, people. Check it out. And again, please do listen to our four podcasts. Wherever you listen your podcast, the Tech 101 and AI 101 will be published next month. So tune in for that. And we will do for sure lots more of episodes that will empower you through our Tech 101, AI 101. Bible Verses 101, and of course, Coaching 101. So, Miss Jackie,
Thanks for joining us and keep learning.
Martica people, see you soon.